Newcastle's streak has ended. After a 4-1 defeat to Bournemouth in the league, Eddie Howe's men were tactically outclassed. Today we'll break down what we learned in this game, what it means for Newcastle's future, analyze the performance of another right-wing audition, as well as discussing Newcastle's transfer plan that could change everything. As per, join us as we'll break it all down. Also, according to YouTube stats, only about 6% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you like this video or just realized that you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later. It's free. Enjoy the video.
Let's go!
Starting off with what we learned from Newcastle United 1, Bournemouth 4 in a must-win game at St James's Park. There was some positive news going into it with the returning Fabian Schär in the squad after an illness. The Newcastle lineup featured an unchanged side, which many didn't have a problem with. Why change what works? But Bournemouth were never going to be easy. They are one of the most informed teams in the Premier League, on a run of 10 games unbeaten. Despite some injuries, they had an attack full of confidence and decisiveness. With Newcastle not changing what works, Bournemouth had done their homework. Bournemouth came out and did one thing: press the Newcastle centre-backs, not giving them room to breathe, winning the ball in the final third, and scoring. Even the Newcastle midfielders were tightly marked and dispossessed. Bournemouth was just too organised. That's not to say Eddie Howe wasn't trying. He actually subbed Botman for Schär, aiming to put a right-footed centre-back in the right centre-back role to help with the fluid movement of the ball. Plus, Schär had a better record as a ball-playing centre-back. However, Schär was also pressed into making giveaways. The Bournemouth press was something else, as evidenced by the fact that they had a massive 13 interceptions to Newcastle's 3. Newcastle had 1 error leading to a shot and 2 errors leading to a goal. With a thin squad ravaged by injury, that Bournemouth team had to shift into another gear in maintaining that press throughout the game, as Semenyo said.
Yeah, crazy performance from us. We just knew that we needed to get the press right, and if we got the press right, we'll get opportunities, and you could see from a couple of the goals, we got the press right and got the 3 points, so yeah.
You talk a lot about the press. I mean, I've seen a few people say it was one of the best opening 10 minutes they've seen at St James's Park. How did you get that so right, and how important was that fast start?
We knew that they had moments where they'll keep at the back, and we wanted to catch him out, catch the back four. So we knew as soon as the keeper played to one of the centre halves, that was a trigger to go, and everyone just went together, and it just worked out perfectly.
Credit to them for such a press. Talking about Semenyo, with Newcastle searching for a right winger, he actually dropped an audition, having a 7.4 match rating, 1 assist, 58 touches, 2 key passes, 1 big chance created, 1 successful dribble, and 4 duels won. What was even more impressive was that he was playing on the left wing, showcasing his versatility, which makes him an impressive potential signing for Newcastle United. Despite every player in that match being poor, Sandro Tonali and Martin Dubravka were 2 of the few players who could hold their heads high after this match. Sandro Tonali with 1 tackle, 3 clearances, 1 headed clearance, 1 interception, 8 recoveries, 6 duels won and 2 fouls won. And Martin Dubravka producing a 7.0 match rating, 6 saves with 5 inside the box. Those 2 actually kept the scoreline down. Eddie Howe and Dan Burn also commented on the result, saying,
You've not been used to losing in recent weeks, so how disappointing was that?
Yeah, very disappointing. As I said, we've been on a great run, so it's not nice to get beat, especially at home. But to be fair to Bournemouth, I think they were the better team all over the park today. In possession, out of possession, technically. Physically is probably the most frustrating thing, I think, because we very rarely get sort of outworked, or feel like we get outworked, and we were today, so I think that's the most disappointing thing.
You've had a lot of games in recent weeks. Do you feel like maybe that was a game too far? Was that catching up on you?
Yeah, possibly, but I think we always prepare well for games, so I think it's an easy excuse to say that you're tired. Obviously, we changed a lot of players for the Bromley game, so I don't think you can really use that as an excuse. I think we're played into their traps quite a bit early on. Obviously, we're used to starting games so well recently, scoring goals, and we conceded 2 very early. I think that's always hard to come back from, and the more you push forward, I think they're very good on transition, so we've suffered for it.
Yeah, sometimes when you start slowly, it's sort of hard to get back into it after that, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think as well, I think we've shown this season that even when we do go behind in games, that we've sort of got the ability and the players in there to get ourselves out of it. But they scored some good goals, long-range efforts, which are always hard to stop. So,
even when you got the equaliser, did you ever feel like you really seized the initiative after that?
I think when we got the equaliser, I felt as if it settled. We're down a little bit. But I think we lost balls in areas we don't normally lose today. I think it was all over the pitch. I don't think that's any particular player. We were just probably a bit more sloppy in possession than we normally are. And as I said, Bournemouth are very, very good on the counter. They've got some good forward players in there to punish them.
Obviously, the form's been so good. Sometimes can a reality check be a useful thing in a way?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's sometimes. I feel as a fan anyway. We always either get too low or too high. So we've probably been riding away for a while, and sometimes it's good to get as I said, a little bit of a reality check to know that there's still a lot of work to do. Any team sort of beats anyone in this league, and you've got to work for it.
Disappointing one, but defeats happen. I guess it's about how you respond now.
Exactly, yeah. And as I said, this whole season, I think at the start we're quite inconsistent, but nothing's changed from us. The way that we prepare in training and building into games, it'll be exactly the same again. And
you've got a week to prepare for the next one. I guess maybe a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of days to rest, and then, as I said, you always want to put it right. So.
The team's been so impressive in recent weeks. What do you feel went wrong today?
Yeah, we weren't ourselves today at all in any level, really. I think our performance was really, really disappointing. I think, firstly, physically, I thought we were off where we have been. We have to take full responsibility for that. I don't think we started the game well. We were on the back foot, they were on the front foot, and we never really recovered from that difficult start. We looked a bit flat and a little lacking in energy. So that's my initial assessment.
With the physical aspect, I mean, you've had, this is the third game in 6 days. Did that catch up, do you feel that was a reason?
Yeah, we often say ourselves that the last game in a sequence of 3, and especially with a shorter week, with it being 6 days, is the hardest. Certainly it looked that way from our viewpoint. Difficulty we had in preparing the game is that we were on a long winning run with the same team, and it's very difficult to change that, I think, before the game. In running, we tried to make a number of tactical switches to try and get a real foothold in the game and try and get some kind of control, but Bournemouth didn't allow that, and they ran out worthy winners today.
Yeah, do you feel like they played you at your own game in some ways today?
Well, no, that's their game. I mean, their game's their game, and they executed it much better than we did today, and we have to acknowledge that and accept that, and then try and fix that for the next game. I don't think we'll go too hard initially on the players, because I think it just looked like physically we're out on our feet. So I think it's more a physical issue than anything else, and we'll look to recover quickly.
And you've got a week to analyse it and a week to sort of prepare for the next game as well. Is that a good thing in many ways?
I think after a physical performance like that, yes. I think we get a chance just to recharge, dust off any injuries that we've got. I don't think we were at full pelt today.
And it's an unfamiliar feeling in recent weeks, isn't it? How do you use that now as fuel to prepare for the next one?
Well, it's an unfamiliar feeling in recent weeks, but also it's not a nice one, and I think that's the key thing. I think it's a horrible feeling when you don't, not only when you don't win, but you don't perform to the level that you know you can. So I think it's extra fuel for us to go away, dust ourselves down, accept what we've done, and now work hard, really hard, to try and fix it and to make sure we give a much better account of ourselves in our next match.
Ultimately, it was a clash of 2 teams on unbeaten runs. Although Newcastle lost for the first time in 9 games, we need to not overreact and come back stronger. Then moving on to some transfer news. So Fabrizio Romano has reported that a deal for Lloyd Kelly could be on the horizon this month, as Juventus has come in with a bid for the Newcastle United defender. Initially linked with a move to Turkish club Fenerbahce, Newcastle rejected their offer, feeling it fell significantly short of their valuation. Despite joining Newcastle on a free transfer last summer and earning a high wage, the club was not interested in accepting a low bid. However, after turning down Fenerbahce, reports indicate that Juventus has made a higher offer for Kelly. Romano confirmed that Juventus submitted a verbal approach for a loan-to-buy deal, which Newcastle also rejected. The Italian club is reportedly interested in acquiring Kelly as a new centre-back, and is looking to revisit negotiations with an improved offer of around €15 million, following their rejection of Fenerbahce's €13 million proposal. Newcastle appears firm in their stance, unwilling to let any player go for less than their valuation. A bid of approximately £12.5 million, surpassing Fenerbahce's earlier offer, could prompt the Magpies to engage in talks. Posting on X, Fabrizio Romano said, "Juventus have asked for Lloyd Kelly as new centre-back with verbal bid, rejected by Newcastle for loan with buy option clause. Juventus remain interested after Newcastle United rejected €13 million proposal from Fenerbahce this week. Juve now hope to advance for fee around €15 million. Deal on. While there are concerns about squad depth after recent performances, Kelly has had limited impact since his arrival. Selling him could be beneficial for Newcastle, especially considering their financial planning and potential profit from the transfer. Ultimately, it seems that the club may be open to a sale if the right offer comes in. But tell me, would you want Newcastle to sell Lloyd Kelly? Then moving on, Newcastle United has reportedly made its first move for Brentford star Bryan Mbeumo, although a January transfer seems unlikely due to the club's high valuation of the player. Transfer expert Ben Jacobs shared insights indicating that Newcastle is the only club to have made a concrete approach for Mbeumo, suggesting a potential summer bid. Brentford don't want to sell, that's the first thing. Newcastle are the only club that have made any concrete approach. No bid for January, but they're looking at Mbeumo over the summer, he said. While Brentford manager Thomas Frank has ruled out a January exit for Mbeumo, Newcastle appears to be laying the groundwork for a future deal. Jacobs emphasized that Mbeumo was already on the radar during Dan Ashworth's tenure at Newcastle, indicating a long-standing interest in the player. Despite Newcastle's focus on finding more affordable options, Mbeumo's impressive performance, contributing 16 goals this season, makes him a coveted target, especially as they look to bolster their right-wing options. However, Brentford holds a strong position, with a contract extension option that keeps Mbeumo tied to the club until 2027. With Arsenal also reportedly interested, Newcastle could face stiff competition. If they manage to secure Mbeumo, pairing him with Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak could create a formidable attacking trio, characterized by pace, movement, and a significant goal threat. Therefore, Mbeumo should be a high-priority target for Newcastle in the summer transfer window. However, given the implications of Newcastle's transfer decisions on their potential finish this season, it's a critical moment for the club. The strategy of waiting until the summer to sign a player they truly want could be beneficial, especially if they believe they can secure a top target without rushing into a deal. However, there are arguments for seeking alternatives in the current transfer window, particularly to address immediate needs and maintain momentum in their campaign. There are pros and cons to both strategies. By waiting until the summer, Newcastle can focus on securing high-quality players like Bryan Mbeumo, who has been identified as a primary target due to his impressive performances this season. Additionally, the club may want to avoid overspending in January, especially since Brentford is reportedly not entertaining offers for Mbeumo until the summer. On the other hand, waiting could leave Newcastle vulnerable. With Miguel Almiron potentially leaving and Jacob Murphy being the only natural right winger, the team may struggle to maintain their form without additional reinforcements. And by the way, please do tell me who you would prefer Newcastle to sign between Semenyo and Mbeumo. And if you would like to know the secret hero that is actually keeping Newcastle together, click the video link on screen now.